Hello everyone and welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. Today I will show you how I painted these 6 simple ink and watercolor doodles, and for that I did use a Gersatecker watercolor paper. This is cellulose watercolor paper. Also for the brushes I have used Raphael number 8 round brush and Panart number 4 detail brush. For the watercolors today I will be using these Paul Rubens watercolors. These are watercolors that I have been sent to give them a try. So thank you so much, Paul Rubens, for sending these watercolors. This is their floral set, new set. And I actually did do a chart with the watercolors, and I really do like the vibrancy of the colors, and I do like the range of the colors. So very nice, really nice palette for the florals, but also you can use it for any subject that you like to paint. So let's give them a try. First, I will start with a little bit of the olive green. This is going to be my first doodle. I did splatter a little bit of that olive green. And now I am mixing some burnt brown and some French ultramarine to get this dark gray, almost black color. And then gonna paint in a couple of wild grasses. I'm gonna leave it at that. Later on I'll be adding a little bit more details to the first one, and then moving on to the second one I'm using permanent violet. Again, started with a couple of splatters and a little bit of the paint on top of my paper. I did have too much, so I wanted to lift a little bit of the paint, and then with the same mixture of burnt brown and some French ultramarine I'm gonna paint in those florals quite simply. So I'm gonna try as much colors as I can just to see how they look on paper and how they just behave one with the other. So I am painting wet on dry. I did not add water to my paper, and then on top while painting while the paper is still wet, so you can see some of the bleeds. Now I'm just adding a little bit of the olive green, painting in some different florals, and then that permanent violet, a little bit more saturated at the bottom and on the sides. And then I'm gonna add also a couple of wilder grasses to make it a little bit more interesting. We will be adding ink later on, so I don't want to go, well, I want to leave a space for the ink. Some splatters with quite saturated this time permanent violet, and at the bottom I wanted to make them a little bit watered down and a little bit lighter, and I do want to have some texture here also on this lower part. Moving on to the third one. For the third one I have used Indian yellow, and I'm gonna paint in first the bottom, picked up a little bit of the water, and then just move that paint slightly around, and then again picking up that dark gray, almost black color, mix of burnt brown, French ultramarine. Again, some splatters with that. I'm just covering around because I don't want to have splatters all around. And now I have picked some yellow Sienna deep and just doing some ovals, and at the bottom again that dark, almost black mixture to paint in the stems. And my paper was quite wet here, so everything just bled together. And I did not really like how that turned out, so I decided to lift a little bit of that paint, add some more of the Indian yellow, and then just this already started to dry, so I'm just adding a little bit more of the details there, more pigment there, and some Indian yellow again on the side. So I'm gonna dry that one because I do want to add splatters. This is that, again, quite dark black mixture. I did not want it to have that those splatters to just blend with the background. I wanted to have them sharp. So moving on to the next one, and this time I picked up some Van Dyke brown and splattered same color, and then picking up a little bit of the rose red to paint in those couple of flowers, and then with this black mixture I'm just adding a bit more of the details to those florals. Couple of grasses, and I'm just trying to make it as loose as possible, and then on top some more of the splatters with rose red, which I did mix with Indian yellow a little bit just to tone it down slightly. Starting off with olive green, and again that darker mixture black, and I do want to paint a pine tree here, so you can see me just wiggling with my brush, swirling for the branches, and you can just make them as random as possible. As more random as they are, they will look more realistic. And then the tree trunk and the central part, and on top I did want to add a little bit of the olive green, so I'm just adding to some spots some olive green as a lighter color, and then also adding a bit more of those pine trees, this time smaller ones around this larger one, and some grasses. Of course I will finish off again with splatters with that dark pigment, dark black, dark gray, and some olive green. Moving on to the next one, which I will be painting with Hooker's Green Brilliant. Starting off with the petals for my flower, and then adding mix of burnt brown and French ultramarine to the central part, and just some details also around the flower. So also just shaping in the petals of that flower, and just adding the stem. Also I want to add the background just to make it work with all of the rest of the flowers and doodles. So I decided also to do one more smaller flower, something like a bud, again using the same color, Hooker's Green Brilliant, and mix of burnt brown and French ultramarine, and then adding a little bit of the black at the bottom. And just finishing off with shaping the petals. I did pick up a little bit of the water just to soften and smear some of the edges, and add at the end, of course, some splatters with olive green. I decided also to lift a little bit of the paint because it was just blending too much and it was too dark. And now that everything dried, I left it to dry completely, and now that everything dried, I'm gonna do the inking. Just gonna add some doodles where I think they would fit, and also add maybe a couple of grasses, foliage, and some stems. And I also did wanted to frame each of those doodles with some shape. For the first one I decided to do somewhat a circle. Maybe it turned out more like an egg shape, oval shape. Well, some squished circle. And then some doodles around. You can also write in the text if that's what you like inside of that shape. For the second one, I kind of felt like doing a square, rectangular shape. And just adding more lines and some scribbling to it. And also a little bit more of the details to the florals and some grasses. Just to finish everything off. More details to the frame. And then moving on to the third one. For the third one, I did do the oval, and I did not keep all the foliage and flowers inside the oval. I did leave some of them peeking through or just out of it. And as I said, you can write in the text inside if that's what you like. These ideas could be used for cards. And I have to say, I do like these colors. They're very nice for... I'm not sure how they would act during the time, and if I would say they're great artist watercolors, but definitely something... are not that expensive, and definitely something that if you're a beginner and learning or just painting for yourself and doodling for yourself, I believe these watercolors would be awesome for you. And as I said, very nice range of colors, springy and nice, a lot of nice vibrant colors, summer, spring. Yeah, I really do like them. And also, if you want to check them out, I did put a link in the description box and a coupon code that you can get some discount with it. So if you would like to check it out, well, use the code and maybe get some discount. For this one, again, a rectangular shape, a little bit more of the doodles at the corners. And again, some grasses. Just want to shape a little bit, maybe that pine tree and those smaller pine trees around it. Bit more details again to the frame. And for the last one, I'm gonna paint in the, let's call it a circle around it, and then again do some doodles over to the insides, maybe add some sort of foliage. Of course, you can do your doodles just as you like. This is just an idea. Again, adding a couple of grasses. Some details to the petals. And actually with that, we will be finishing off. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and maybe got inspired to give this a try, or maybe just doodle paint something similar to it. If you do like it, please hit the like button, share it, and comment. If you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. I have many tutorials here for beginners and advanced painters, and I'm sure you will find something for yourself. If you're interested in these watercolors, there is a link in the description box and a code for discount. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!